And I had a couple of those Phillies. I just had the wrong ones. So,
jeez.
Yeah. And Castellanos has gotten hot now that we talked about him the other day.
Yeah, it's about time. He was way overdue. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
All right, let's start buzzing down these games. And for those that jump into our live chat here as we go, definitely say hello, ask some questions. We'll be stopping a few times throughout to double check and make sure we're answering all of those questions. All right, there is a 110 game crash. It's the Atlanta Braves and the New York Mets. It's a 9 total in Vegas. 10-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to left, 88 degrees in New York, 4.30 implied for Atlanta, 4.70 for the Mets. Jake Odorizzi, 7.8K against David Peterson, 8.6K. Another early game, 220. We have the Marlins and the Cubs. 8 is the total there. 88 degrees, slight breeze. Both teams with a 4 implied total. Pablo Lopez, 7.5K, and Drew Smiley, 5.7K. Mid-afternoon game, LA Angels, Seattle Mariners. It is a 7.5 total in the Dome there in Seattle. 3.08 implied for the Angels, 4.42 for Seattle. Jamie Barria versus George Kirby. Game just to make things more confusing. That's not going to count on our big slate here, but it is the Pittsburgh Pirates and Baltimore Orioles. 8.5 is the total in that game. It is, like I said, a 5:05 game Eastern. 88 degrees, wind blowing out to left at 10 miles an hour in Baltimore. 3.79 implied for the Pirates, 4.71 for the Baltimore Orioles. JT Brubaker, and this is going to be a showdown game, so his pricing is 15.9. Austin Voth, 14.1. All right, now we get into the main slate. These are the games that we'll be focusing on, these 13 games for what we're providing to our team here at Coach Talk. And the nice part about it is, Crash, we have a little weather to watch in Minnesota. That's the one spot that we may get rain, and that's the big circle around that game because, that'll be the big decision to make. But everything else looks great. And on top of that, there's no win game in Wrigley. There's no Coors game. All of the over-unders in Vegas are between 7 and 9.5. So there's no crazy outlier games. And the awesome part about that is that means you don't have to do any forced stacks or fades. You can just, go after the slate with what you see best.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it. All right, here we go for that 3-game express slate. 6:05 Washington at Philly. Implied total for both teams is pretty decent here. It's a 9 Vegas total. 88 degrees in Philly, wind blowing out to right center. 3.34 implied for the Nationals, which isn't bad considering they lost all their hitters. And a big 5.66 for Philly. So very stackable now. Fellow lefty Ranger Suarez at 8.1K. Second game on that express slate, 6:10, Houston Astros at the Cleveland Guardians. Vegas has that set at 8.5. 85 degrees, slight breeze in Cleveland. Nice day for baseball, a little warm. 4.69 implied for Houston. 3.81 is all for the Guardians. Luis Garcia, 8.7K against Cal Quantrill, 7.3K. And then the third and final game in that express slate, Tampa Bay Rays at the Detroit Tigers. Nice warm day in Detroit, 88 degrees, wind blowing in from right center at 9 miles an hour. Implied totals here, 4.72 for Tampa on that 7.5 total in Vegas, which means Detroit, almost nothing. 2.78 is all that we've got for the Tigers. Shane McClanahan, 10.1K versus Garrett Hill, 5.6K. And we'll keep an eye on that one as that express slate comes to fruition. All right, the evening slate. Again, it's 10 games on DraftKings, 8 on Fanduel and Yahoo. They're splitting it up a little bit more on those two sites. 7:05, we've got White Sox at Rangers in the Dome there in Texas. 8 total, 4.10 implied for the White Sox, 3.90 for the Rangers. Michael Kopech, 7.5K against Dane Dunning at 7.1K. So two pretty well-priced pitchers there for the abilities. 7:07, 2 minutes later, San Fran and Oakland. So we've got the California team squaring off here. 7.5 total. Of course, a perfect day, 73 degrees in Oakland. What a nice day for baseball. Slight breeze blowing out at 10 miles an hour. Only 7.5, though, on that total. 4.48 implied for the Giants, 3.02 for the A's. And you've got Carlos Rodon, the lefty, at 9.5K against Adam Aller, the rookie, at 5.7K for Oakland. 7:10, we move over to New York. It's Atlanta at New York. Slight chance of rain in this one. I think we should be good, though. It's a 7:10 game. This is the lowest total on the board today. 6.5 is that number. And that's because you got two aces for sure. 3.06 implied for the Braves with Max Fried, the lefty, at 9.2K. And then 3.44 implied for the Mets total. And they have Mad Max at 10.1K. Also at 7:10, Toronto Blue Jays, Minnesota Twins. We have a total of 9 in that game. That's where we're expecting rain. Unfortunately, 73% chance at first pitch. So we'll be watching closely. Left to right breeze, 9 miles an hour, 75 degrees, but definitely thunderstorms firing all over the place. 9 is that total, 4.64 implied for Toronto, 4.36 for the Twins. Mitch White, 6.6K against Dylan Bundy at 7K. 7:10, Boston Red Sox, Kansas City Royals. We have a total of 9 here. Hot day in Kansas City, 95. Wind blowing out at about 11 to 12 miles an hour to left field. We have a 4.83 implied total for Boston, 4.17 for the Royals. Nathan Eovaldi, very cheap, 7.3K against lefty Daniel Lynch, 6.9K. Then we go over to New York versus St. Louis in hot St. Louis today. 7:15 is that game, 92 degrees in St. Louis, slight breeze right to left. It's an 8.5 total and 4.25 implied on both sides. Domingo Germán at 6.5K for the Yankees, and Jordan Montgomery, how about that? The lefty for the Cardinals at 7.7K. Then we have another 7:15 game, the Reds and your Brewers. Brewers hosting them at 7.5 runs. In the Dome there, 3.21 implied for the Reds, 4.29 for the Brewers. The rookie Nick Lodolo, the lefty, at 8.3K against fellow lefty Aaron Ashby at a clean 8K. Interesting that Ashby's cheaper than Lodolo. 8:10, an hour, jump ahead almost an hour. Colorado at Arizona. 8 is the total there in the Dome in Arizona. 3.44 implied for Colorado, 4.56 for the Diamondbacks. Antonio Senzatella, 6.4K against Merrill Kelly, 9K for the D-backs. Last two games on the slate. Late night hammer games, 9-10. That really good series. I watched most of that game last night. The Padres at the Dodgers. 8.5 is the total there. Warm 80 degrees in Los Angeles, a little warmer than normal. Wind blowing out to center at 11 miles an hour. So a little bit advantage for the hitters in this game. 3.87 implied for the Padres, 4.63 for the Dodgers. Mike Clevenger, 8.8K against lefty Andrew Haney at 9.3K. Then we wrap up the slate all by itself an hour after all the other games. So late night again for baseball. LA Angels at the Seattle Mariners, only a 7 total here in the Dome in Seattle, 3.14 implied for the Angels, 3.86 for the Mariners. Reed Detmers, the lefty, 8.9K against ex-KBO pitcher Chris Flexen at 6.7K.
Yeah.
So that's it, man. That's 17 games. How's that for a lot of baseball?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's a ton.
What do you think of the slate?
Oh, I like the slate. I'm more of a fan of the smaller slates. I don't necessarily like having the schedule spread out throughout the whole day. It's a little hard to keep up with. But as far as the main slate goes, I prefer the smaller slates over the big ones. It just seems like it's the cash line on those big slates just gets to be ridiculous. So
it does get to be tough.
Yeah.
I just like the equal aspect, like I mentioned at the beginning, is you don't have something you feel like you're forced to stack, And I just like when you can go, little 2-mans, or you can float around like that. So Good morning, Dominic, JT. What's up, guys? Where's boy from Cali? Did you have a late night out on the town last night or what?
He's sleeping in.
Oh my goodness. All right. Let's dive into this thing, man. This is where I say it every day, but this is why you pull down all this huge amounts, stacks of cash, because these are the plays that pay, as they say. So you're pitching for this Saturday, August the 6th, pay up, value, and fade. What do you got?
My pay-up pitcher is going to be Carlos Rodon. He's 10-6 on Fanduel, 9,500 on Draftkings. Would have been Max Scherzer, but he's only on Draftkings. So over there, you can definitely go with Scherzer. But on Fanduel and Yahoo, it's going to be Carlos Rodon. Had one of his better starts in a while last time against the Cubs. He pitched 7 shutout innings, struck out 10 for 61 fantasy points. And going up against the Oakland team that have scored the second fewest runs per game, and they've actually scored the fewest runs per game at home. So they struggle to score the most at home. So
they are terrible.
I like Rodon as my top pay-up option. Kind of 1B for me on FanDuel and Yahoo is Merrill Kelly, but I give a slight edge to Rodon. My value pitcher, and this is going to sound hypocritical after yesterday, but it's Aaron Ashby. He's 8,400.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a 72-hour moratorium. Once you lose your Brewers card, you can't get it back until Monday.
So
he came through for me too, by the way.
I know he did. Eric Lauer was good. He's 8,400 on FanDuel, 8,000 on DraftKings. He is in the same spot that Lauer was in last night. His last 5 starts, he's allowed 2 runs or less. And his last start at home was against Colorado. He pitched 7 innings, struck out 9, and allowed 2 runs for 46 fantasy points. So Cincinnati's been one of the better teams this year in scoring at home, but on the road, they've scored the 4th fewest runs per game. And, of course, they lost, Tommy Pham and Brandon Drury at the trade deadline. So I like Aaron Ashby as my value pitcher. My fade pitcher is going to be Andrew Heaney. He's 9,400 on FanDuel, 9,300 on DraftKings. I know San Diego's really been struggling their last 2 games, but I think they break out of that tonight and just get out of this slump they've been in. They only scored 3 against Colorado on Thursday and just 1 run last night against your boy Gonsolin and the Dodgers bullpen. So.
Yeah, he told me about Gopher Ball. I was a Gopher Ball coach, so
man, he was.
I apologize to the Gonsolin family.
Yeah. So those are my 3 top pay up and value and fade pitchers.
I love it. All right, for me, it's a little complicated. I think Scherzer and Rodon are the plays on DraftKings. There are so many value players that you can take for hitting that it makes it possible. So I'm not saying that that's going to be 100%. I'm just going to lock in Scherzer and Rodon. But on DraftKings, I'm very tempted to get to both of them.
Yeah.
And again, Scherzer's not on the other 2 slates, so it's a little bit different. Rodon is my top play too. He's just, I mean, that Oakland team, it's an embarrassment that they're even out on the field. I'll tell you that franchise is a joke. Their stadium is a joke. They just need to get the team to Las Vegas, put some money into those, into players. I mean, if I was an A's fan, I would probably burn my jersey. I mean, they're a joke. So Rodon, I think is a great play, and for all the reasons you said, I won't rehash those numbers, but great spot. Really like him tonight. My second pick, though, and you gave mention to him, and he's really flown below the radar, is Merrill Kelly, man. He is, nobody's really saying much about him, but look at his last 6 starts, for example. Here are the innings that he went: 7, 8, 7, 7, 6 1/3, and 7. How many guys have gone that deep, that many games in a row?
Yeah.
And how about the earned runs, Crash? 0, 0, 1, 2, 2, 1. So all quality starts. And then his strikeouts aren't going to blow you away, but 8, 7, 5, 5, 6, 5. So, it's good enough. And his Fanduel points just to drive it home. And here's the fact, a lot of times we'll say, here's his last 5 or 6 games. Well, it's against, Oakland, and it's at San Francisco, and it's at, against Colorado on the, not in Coors, crap teams. He did this against at Atlanta, at home against the San Francisco team, against San Diego, and then again against San Francisco at home. So, I mean, these are teams that have good records that are solid. And his Fanduel points 49, 55, 40, 37, 35, 37. So all that to be said, I really like him in this matchup tonight. I think that his price is going to scare people. Yeah, because that's the concern. Is he's 9,000 on DraftKings, 9,800 on FanDuel, but a real fair 46 on Yahoo. So don't let the price scare you. He is a little higher, and he's you're gonna see Scherzer on DraftKings, then Rodon and some of these other guys right up there with him. But man, I'll tell you what, he deserves some ownership. So I'll have him scattered in all my lineups as well.
I agree.
And I'm going to consider him as my value pitcher because 46 on Yahoo's cheap. 9,000 on DraftKings is pretty cheap too, in my opinion.
I agree.
That output,
Yeah.
And then as far as my fade pitcher, Andrew Heaney, that was yours, correct? Yeah, me too. And right back to that, I just think that how many times through the years, I mean, this just seems to go back like 3 years. I remember you watch Heaney, you don't play him, he pitches great. You watch him, you think, I don't know, he pitches great. Then all of a sudden you say, okay, he's in a spot, I'm going to play him, and he gets just his tail ripped off.
Yeah.
And he just is inconsistent. And I know he's pitched well this year, but I think his price is too high. I think he's in a matchup against a team that's just about to have one of those 8 or 9 run games, Padres. And so I'm fading Andrew Heaney across the board.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, my man. Hopefully he doesn't do a Gonsolin on us. That's all I can say.
Right.
All right.
The Padres lineup just has to, I mean, there's just too much talent to not, start scoring some runs.
It's absolutely loaded. And, they added right-handed hitting too. Josh Bell's a switch hitter and
Brandon Drury.
And Drury. Yeah. So where they had some deficiencies, they were 16th hitting against lefties. You can erase that, sort of start over with those 2 bats in the middle now, adding those right-handers and then protection with Soto in there. I mean, they're just a completely different team.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, if you want to join us at Coach Talk, hey, boy from Cali, good morning. Are you hung over there, boy from Cali? We know you joined late here. I don't know what's going on. Great to have you guys all in here, though. If you have any questions, comments, throw them in there in chat. We'll keep checking them out. If you want to join us at Coach Talk, I threw out a real quick announcement in our Discord for members. What a busy day we have, Crash. It's insane. We've got golf at the end of the night for tomorrow's finals. We have MMA. Colin and Mike have got that ready. We have 2 baseball slates. We have the NFL football podcast coming out for the running backs for you and Steven are going to be putting together. So we have all kinds of action all day. If you want to become a member, go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up for as little as 3 days. Or if you want to take advantage of our second half MLB, that goes from today all the way until October 1st. And that you can sign up for right on our website. Just go to dfscoachtalk.com and go to the memberships page. All right, if you're watching on YouTube, quick thumbs up. This is super important to us. Thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. That's super important. And then just a quick comment. Any comment at all, that combination really helps us move up the algorithm on YouTube. And hit the alert button. This way you're not missing or having to get into the chat here late. Good, like Gary, good morning. He just joined. But if you set those alerts, then you'll know when our podcast posts and you can jump right in there. Okay, sir. Second phase here of importance. Why don't we add 3 things together? I'll let you take the microphone for a while here.
Okay.
Your BVP pick, your HR pick, and your stacks.
Okay.
Or Crash here on this Saturday, August the 6th.
All right. My BVP play is going to be Christian Walker. He's 2,900 on Fanduel, 3,600 on Draftkings. He's hit 500 against Antonio Senzatella, 11 hits and 22 at bats. He's got 5 singles, 4 doubles, and 2 home runs. So like the BVP numbers there for Walker. My home run call is going to be, and it's not, I thought it was on the main slate, but it's actually on the earlier slate, just before the main slate. And it's Alec Boehm. 5 hits and 14 at bats with 2 home runs against Patrick Corbin. So I like him here against the lefty. And then as far as my stacks go, I do like the Dodgers against Mike Clevenger. Also like the Padres against Heaney, like we've been talking about. I like the Diamondbacks against Senzatella. And then if the game plays, I do like both sides of Minnesota and Toronto. I think you can game stack that with Mitch White and Dylan Bundy. So
exactly. No, I agree with that one. I'm sort of sad that it looks like it could be a rain game because I definitely would have some exposure there in that Minnesota-Toronto side, especially Toronto. So for me, Toronto is one of my stacks, by the way. I just think if this game plays, I'd love it against Bundy. I think multiple homer type game if it stays dry. And that leads me to my BVP play as well. It's George Springer. He is 5 for 15 against Bundy, and he's got 3 extra base hits, 2 homers, 4 ribbies. He's walked a couple of times. So he's got an impressive 1212 OPS, 800 slugging, 412 OBP, and that 333 average. So George Springer against Bundy if that game plays. My HR pick, I'm going back to the well once again with Mr. Manny Machado because he happens to be, as we've mentioned several times here, I like the San Diego Padres stack tonight. I think this is their breakout game. I see Heaney stumbling a bit. So I'm going with Machado. He's only 3 for 11 against Heaney, but 2 of those are homers, 4 ribbies, and a 1068 OPS, 818 slugging, 250 OBP, and 273 average. And if you watched the game yesterday, they were talking about how Machado just feels so much more comfortable with having all of these bats around him because he was really carrying this team for a long time this year. I mean, he was the only bat. I mean, they had Hosmer batting behind him, for God's sake.
Right.
And just, he wasn't seeing pitches. And there were times he was, like anybody does in that situation, you start chasing because you're wanting pitches to hit. Well, they're not going to be able to pitch around him that much, and he's going to be hitting with guys on base. So I think you're going to see a monster second half from Machado, and hopefully some of that starts tonight.
I like it.
All right, sir. PrizePicks.
Okay.
What is the story on PrizePicks? What are your top 2 plays? And we'll give out some more. I've got 2 or 3 good ones. I've already actually posted a few extra ones in chat. But what do you have for your top 2 PrizePicks plays on this slate?
Yeah, hopefully I can keep it rolling on PrizePicks. I went 5 for 5 last night.
I saw that. Congratulations, man. Nice hit.
Thank you. Merrill Kelly over 36.5 fantasy score. As we mentioned, he had 57 against Colorado earlier this year. But to me, more importantly, he's gone over that number in 5 of his last 6 starts. And as you mentioned, those were against some quality teams. So I like the over there at 36.5. And then I also like my BVP play, Christian Walker, over 7.5 fantasy score. So those are going to be my top 2 PrizePicks plays.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's only 7.5. That was so enticing,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, I've got a couple weird ones, I think. Well, no, not one of them is just easy. Manny Machado, 7.5. I'll take that all day long. There's that 7.5 famous number. So Manny Machado over fantasy score 7.5. That's a layup. This one might surprise you, though. I like Max Fried under 33.5 fantasy score. He's going against that Mets team. And I'll tell you what, have you watched any of Mets games recently?
Yeah, I have.
I mean, they just looked like one of those teams of destiny kind of teams recently. Every time, Showalter has a way too, when he's a good manager and he pushes the right buttons, they get the right pinch hits. Their crowds are going crazy. Watch out for these Mets this year, by the way.
Yeah.
And I just think Fried's been on and off his game a bit. 33.5 is pretty high. I have him like at 29.5. So I'm going to go under Max Fried, 33.5 fantasy score.
Okay.
All right, let's go to our Boom Fantasy. And if you haven't heard of Boom Fantasy, you are going to be hearing a ton of Boom Fantasy coming up soon. They're launching in less than 2 weeks, and we're going to be a huge part of that. We're partnering with them on all kind of ventures. You'll see us together on TikTok, on Twitter, a bunch of social media stuff. So we're very excited that they have chosen DFS Coach Talk to partner with as they launch. They're going to have all kinds of prop plays, different bets, different things you can do in all the sports pretty much. And we'll be announcing and sharing some of that stuff. We'll have a lot of giveaways, some free plays at Boom, etc. So great time to be part of Coach Talk because a lot of that's going to be exclusive to members of Coach Talk only. So come try us out, dfscoachtalk.com. Grab the 3-day even. Just get the rest of this weekend with all this incredible activity. MMA, NASCAR, baseball, golf, you name it, we've got it going. All right, our 2 Boom Fantasy wagers of the day. Crash, what are your 2 plays that you are going to parlay together?
We've been talking about this San Diego LA game. I think that it's going to be one of those, 6-5, 7-6 type games. So I like the over at 8.5. I think that's pretty low with these offenses. So over 8.5 implied run total for San Diego LA is my first pick. My second pick, I think this doubleheader today between Atlanta and the Mets is going to be a split. So I like Atlanta in the first game before they face Scherzer in the second game. So I'm going to take Atlanta at plus 120 in game 1. Got it.
I have a slight dog and an over-under choice for mine as well. We've been riding it. I'm going to stay with it. San Diego's plus 126, which I think is pretty fair. So I'm going the Padres plus 126 against Haney and the Dodgers. And then I guess I'll be watching the late games because my other one's the latest game at 10-10. I like over 7 in that Angels-Mariners game. I know the Angels suck, but the Mariners can hit, and I don't like these pitchers very much. Reed Detmer, yeah, he's 8.9, but Seattle can hit him. And Chris Flexen, I always pick on him. I just thought 7 was a little low for those two pitchers. So I've got this game at like 9 runs. So
Yeah.
I've got to play it.
Yep, I agree.
All right, my friend, let's fly into our two brains are better than one. If anybody, let me check for as you're getting ready for that. Do we have any comments here? All kinds of comments. Are we? Okay, no particular questions. If you have specific questions for us, love the chatter in there though. Definitely shoot those out as we're doing this. Two brains are better than one. We do that here a lot of times on Fridays and Saturdays. So we will do that again today. And I believe I have the first pick today, Crash.
I believe so.
And that puts a lot of pressure on what do I do about the pitcher? Do we go right to Rodon at 10-6? I think I'm going to go to my gut feel play, and it saves us almost $1,000. And it's a GPP, so we don't want dead chalk. I'm going Merrill Kelly 9,800.
Okay.
It's going against Colorado, and I really high on him tonight.
Didn't have this thing ready to go here. I thought I did.
Oh, we get you. We stump you. We put you on the clock on the first pick, even, man.
No. So I'm going to take Walker at catcher first base. He's 2,900.
Okay. I'm going to go right to very expensive Manny Machado, 3,900. He's going deep tonight, Crash. Just face the facts.
Oh, he's third base only.
Third base only.
I feel like it. I'm going to go with Josh Rojas for utility, 2,800.
Rojas. Okay. So we got that spot filled. We're 3,120. Oh my gosh, we have enough money that we could spend all day long. George Springer. So now we're just there. Yeah, he's expensive, but I think he may even steal us a bag today. So we're just under 3,000. We're fine.
Yeah.
Realize we have 3 Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I know.
How about that?
I think we're in good spot tonight though against Senzatella.
The Rockies.
He's not that great.
Yeah.
Let me see something real quick. Let's go with.
I'm looking at a couple different guys myself. This is where it gets tricky because the pricing now becomes important. That's for sure. What are you thinking? You're stumped.
A little bit.
When in doubt and you panic like this, you usually take a brewer.
Golly, guess I'm just going Arizona today. Alec Thomas, outfielder.
Wow, that's an interesting pick.
2,400.
Okay. And I'm going to go with Tommy Pham, Red Sox.
You like Pham? Yeah,
very bizarre.
He was almost my home run call against Daniel Lynch.
Yeah, I like him here. And I like him that Boston order hitting second.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with somebody else from that game, too. I'm going to go with Bobby Witt.
He was back yesterday after missing a game. So I think he's fine.
He should be.
That leaves me a lot of money. And, oh, my God, do we want to go now? All right, let's do it, man. You know what? We're going to have a Diamondback stack.
Okay.
Stack.
4-man stack.
4-man stack and the pitcher.
Yeah.
So here we are for the two brains are better than one. This is a great, way to hit a takedown of a big tournament. Merrill Kelly, Christian Walker, Kettle Marte, Manny Machado, Bobby Witt Jr., George Springer, Tommy Pham, Alec Thomas, and Josh Rojas. How about, so we have the 1, 2, 3, 4 hitters for Arizona and the starting pitcher. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. That's crazy.
That is pretty cool. We will take it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my friend. I think let's check here.
We'll have to
went
keep
5-0 last night. Yes, he did, Howard. How
we'll
about
have
that?
to keep an eye on that Springer play, though, with the weather.
I know it. Yeah, that could be a definite curveball, and it is supposed to rain. So, but it's way too early. It's morning.
Yeah, it's way too early to make any kind of move now. But yeah, just
so. But be aware, and don't forget, we'll be posting all afternoon on Twitter. So if that changes and Springer gets scratched, we will put an updated lineup there. Have plenty of money to get to another guy in that spot. So also, if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at DFS Coach Talk. All of us are there, as it says under Crash there, at JP Davis 1982, and I'm at Joe Sarvati. And one other thing too, if you want to make a bunch of wagers today, you want to play horses, casino, you want to play any of the games, baseball, anything you want, give our partners at betus.com.pa a try. We have a great thing going with them. If you deposit your first deposit, it has to be with betus.com.pa of $79 or more, and you use the promo code Coach Talk, all one word, no space, you get 2 free months of Coach Talk. That means October 6th, you'd be with us for free, which gives you the first 5 weeks of the NFL on top of everything else. So give them a try if you want to play those games. And we'd love to have you here at dfscoachtalk.com. Again, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button, give us a comment, and the alert button here in YouTube. What's up, Crash?
I was going to see if I could show my phone to Howard, because he was asking about me going 5-0, but I don't know how it's going to look if I put the phone at the camera.
Did you try it? Let's see. Up a little. There it is. Lots of green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. Very nice. Or you could have just turned the other direction and showed the stack of money and you pulling it in like they do on the GIF that we post all the time. So, well, thank you guys for joining us. Howard, Dominic, Gary, our man boy from Kelly, JT, etc. All the folks in there. We wish you the best. We appreciate you diving in and listening to us today. I'll be solo tomorrow, so it'll be a little bit quicker, and I'll have that out generally earlier than normal. So rather than do the 11 a.m., I don't know what's, you know what? Maybe we'll stick with it. How about we do that? And then this way it's almost like live before lock, because generally on Sunday, the main slate's going to lock at 1:05. So if we go at 11 a.m. Eastern, we'll go for about 45 minutes. So it'll be about an hour and 15 minutes before lock when we finish that up. So let's stick with it. Hopefully we continue to get more and more momentum, and let your friends know, and let them know that we've got this live each day. So, all right, Crash, thanks, man. Appreciate it. And I'll definitely be back tomorrow again when we look to crush it in MLB DFS, PrizePicks, and Boom Fantasy.